Hello and welcome to the long view with me, Jon Jordan. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We are looking at the first time user experience for 3 games. The reason that we're doing this is there are 3 games developed by the same company, so MZ, who are obviously best known originally for Game of War, and then a couple of years later released Mobile Strike, very similar games, and now they have Final Fantasy 15. So in conjunction with Square Enix, who obviously own the Final Fantasy IP, MZ has developed a Final Fantasy game based around the same design as Game of War and Mobile Strike, which is a kind of city building, heavily metagame resource focused kind of experience. So I've done videos of all 3, the starting kind of 5 minutes or so, and we're just going to run them all. So kind of just to show how similar the games are, and equally to see some differences as well. So let's start them going. So there's Final Fantasy, there's Mobile Strike, and there's Game of War. So we can see they're all going slightly out of sync, but we have push notification prompts going for all of them straight away. We also have this location services situation that all 3 of them go through. So they're asking you to access your location, which you allow or disallow, and then suddenly you're straight into the game. So we can see here for Game of War and Mobile Strike a bit more, a very similar kind of experience where they just have these big arrows kind of pointing on what you need to do. For Final Fantasy, slightly what it might call, I don't know, better user flow, slightly more sophisticated. Obviously it has the white hand, which is part of Final Fantasy design ethos, which makes things a bit nicer. Obviously Final Fantasy 15 is a more contemporary game, so it's the other 2. I mean, Game of War now is fairly old, 4 years old, so you'd expect the design to be a bit better. And equally, Square Enix very careful about the Final Fantasy brand and doesn't want something to stand out a little bit different. What's interesting, I guess, is that in terms of the tutorial, it's, even though the aesthetic is different, you're kind of doing the same thing. So you're very much being led through the opening sequence where you're telling you what to do. Tap on these things, level up these things, and behind the scenes, the kind of menu-based system is very similar. The kind of core city building element is very much the same. I think, having played Final Fantasy 15 a bit, there's more there in terms of the hero, a bit more of an RPG element, but not radically different in any respect that I've seen so far. So as we can see, very menu-based. Although the graphics in Final Fantasy 15 are clearly different, might say nicer, it's still very easy to tell the genesis of the game. Obviously we have some retailing going in there straight away, beginner's essential pack. The reason, of course, that Square Enix has gone to MZ to do this co-production is that both Game of War and Mobile Strike are incredibly profitable games. So both of them in 2016 generated more than $1 billion in revenue. Square Enix would quite like a game that generates $1 billion of revenue every year, which certainly Game of War has done for 3 or 4 years now. So we just saw the guild stuff coming up there in Final Fantasy 15. Guilds, alliances as they're called in Game of War, are vitally important to the long-term retention of players. They really, you can't really play the game without being in an alliance. That's how you really get kind of supercharged resources, and equally that's how the monetization method works. It's all about being part of a alliance or a guild, and when you buy stuff, your guild members also get resources. So there's this real strong community collaborative spirit that's going on there. So as we can see in all these games, we're just you're upgrading stuff, and then you can upgrade it for free because it's very early on in the game. So if things take less than 5 minutes in general, you can upgrade them for free by just pressing a button. So you're going through this multiple cycle of upgrading. So I'm just upgrading a farm in Final Fantasy. Looks like we're doing we're doing a quarry. We're building a quarry in a Mobile Strike, and looks like we're doing something with the forge in Game of War. All of them notably do have the same kind of resource structure. So they have stone, they have metal, they have some sort of forging system, they have some sort of research system. For the troops, they have obviously a kind of barracks or to create troops, a proving ground as it is in Final Fantasy 15. And we can see whenever we're going into an upgrade situation, it's telling us what the requirements are. So there's very heavily kind of integrated resource system, and often, very quickly you'll find when you're playing the game that you're kind of resource gated. You haven't got enough resources, so you have to wait, or you speed things up. So interestingly, in these type of games, you don't pay coins to speed things up. You have specific speed up items. So typically you have speed up items that will speed up for a minute or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour or an hour, and you can buy those, or you kind of get them as you go through the game. But you're kind of using these specific speed up items. That's at the moment we're not really doing that because everything can be sped up for free. So obviously the other thing to point out, I guess, in Mobile Strike we're seeing a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So Arnold Schwarzenegger is the face of Mobile Strike. It'll be interesting to see with Final Fantasy 15 how Square Enix and MZ market it. So famously, Game of War has been marketed with Kate Hudson, and then Mariah Carey. So very, very well-known faces. Very interesting marketing even now. They really spend a lot of money on marketing, and do lots of different types of marketing. Be interesting to see if Square Enix and Final Fantasy, if they choose the same model. You can't see why they wouldn't do that, because it's proven to be very popular. So in Final Fantasy now, it's asking me to connect to Facebook. Clearly, it wants me to do that. It wants to see who my friends are, my friends playing the game. It's not necessarily about spamming, but it's about creating that community we were talking about with the alliances. So in Mobile Strike, we are upgrading our headquarters. In Final Fantasy 15, it's the Citadel, and that's kind of the key building in all these games, because once you upgrade that, you can then it unlocks different upgrade trees for the other buildings. So you can't keep upgrading your mine. Your mine, if you can't upgrade a building past the level of the Citadel. So the Citadel is very important from that point of view. So there we go. I don't think we need to draw too many deep conclusions from these videos, but just to point out the kind of behind the scenes, the basic elements in Final Fantasy 15 are very, very similar, if not exactly the same from these other games. Obviously, there are different things. So in Final Fantasy 15 now we're looking at the Proving Ground. So this is like a very resource-gated mini game where you attack enemies. But there's no gameplay in there, really. You're just tapping buttons, and now I've tapped it, I don't get any more resources for another 24 hours. So in 24 hours I can come back and attack that monster again. But that is that. So there we go. This is the long view. In the long view, we play free-to-play mobile games for as long as we can. Like to do videos about things we like to do videos about things that interest us, such as this video. So don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Hello, thanks for watching right to the end of the video. If you have any comments, please put them in the comment box. We're always interested to hear what people think of our videos. Also, don't forget to subscribe. There's a button below, and check out some of our other videos. There's 2 really good examples on the screen right now.